everybody, what's going down? My name is Sonja Marie with Word Life Astrology, here to give you some astrological information sprinkled in with some spiritual understanding on that thing. Today is Monday, that's right, April 8th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I appreciate you being here. Please, if this information resonates with you, consider liking and subscribing and sharing this information. If you are coming back, I appreciate you. You're the real reason why I keep coming back, because I know you coming. So keep it coming so I can keep coming and we can come in and coming and coming. Let's start with Monday, this glorious God-given day. Today is a new moon solar eclipse at 19 degrees Aries. You want to talk about it? As a matter of fact, I did a 90-minute eclipse special here on YouTube in the live section. So go and take part if you'd like to see the extended version of what this eclipse season has for us. But let's talk about today. This new moon solar eclipse at 19 degrees Aries is coming in hot. Boom. It's coming in hot. So let it get on you. That means it's coming in fast. It's coming in with aggression. It's coming in with the urgency to say, yo, we need some newness in our life and we need it now. It's coming with a slight edge of independence. I can do this on my own. It's coming in with a little bit of confrontation and aggression. So be careful with that, okay? But here's the big thing about this new moon solar eclipse in Aries, because we all know that eclipses promote huge changes. But like I say in my special over there in the live section, these changes actually have been prompted 6 months ahead. It's going to continue to get prompted in the next eclipse season. So I want you to know this energy to change, you know about. You have some kind of inkling of what needs to actually pivot and create a new life for you. The beautiful thing about this particular new moon solar eclipse is that it's riding right alongside the North Node as well as Chiron. The North Node means that whatever newness that's coming for you, whatever swift changes that are coming in hot for you, know that it's purposeful. Know that it's on time. How about this? It's on divine time. So it's about time that you walk into it, even if you're fearful. It's about time that you take it on and get some answers, qualify some situations if you need to be better prepared about this newness that's coming in. But the bottom line, it's happening with or without you, baby bubba. So it's time to get up on the train. And here's the other part to that. Chiron is riding right alongside of it as well. So it's prompting us to recognize some wounds that we've been sitting on, that we've probably been a little fearful, a little bit dismissive, escaping in some ways, like eating a lot, drinking a lot, smoking a lot, doing other things and enlisting our distractions so we don't see them. Chiron riding right alongside this new moon solar eclipse is like, yo, you got to see me. You have to implement my influence in your life. Why? Because the good, the not so good, the up, the not so up, everything in between is all who we are, whether you want to accept it or not. It makes up our life. It makes up our trek. It makes up our journey. So why not take accountability for all of it? That's what Chiron riding alongside the North Node and this new moon eclipse is trying to tell us. Like, yo, you are infused with it all. So utilize every little bit of history that you've had thus far to welcome in the newness that wants to carry you even further. How about that? Be really careful though today, especially because that new moon energy is in conjunction with Mercury going retrograde. So what that means is basically, it feels like a little hiccup moment. Like all this excitement that I have in my belly about this new moon solar eclipse for myself and for you, by the way, is a little hiccupy, stuttering, so to speak, in our minds. Because Mercury says, are we sure? I don't know. I'm a little indecisive. I need to ask some more questions about these new things that are coming in. New moon solar eclipse conjuncting Mercury. I don't know. I'm scratching my head. I'm thinking a little too fast. I'm thinking a little too slow. I think I need to speak with a little bit more conviction and a little bit more aggression so you know that I want this newness. I want it. Pipe down. pipe down. All is in divine order. And Mercury being retrograde is a gift on so many levels, because this new moon energy that's coming in, this eclipse, this change them up kind of energy that's coming in, we need to be definite about. So even though the vibrations are coming in, even though we can feel it coming on us, even though we can hear it like coming down the street, like a rumble coming down the road, let's just get prepared while we're in this Mercury retrograde moment. Almost like if the rays were hitting our skin from this eclipse, we let it get it on us and let it soak in. So when it's time to make some definite decisions within a couple of weeks, when it's time to pull the reins and decide, okay, this is how we're going to do it. This is the color I want. This is the people I want. This is the amount of money that I have. We'll be ready. It'll be soaked inside of our being, inside of our existence, and we'll be ready to jump in that driver's seat and take on whatever new is in our midst. On Tuesday, that moon goes into Taurus at 7:23 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That moon being in Taurus will square Pluto. This is what I wrote in my notes. Don't overcommit to something that's transformative in your life while the powers that be are still trying to find their way and cultivate your foundation, okay? Believe in your values, believe in yourself, and stay detached just a little bit from the outcome of how this newness is going to get on you, okay? Now, the moon squaring Pluto tomorrow, Tuesday, means that, again, there's some power trips that want to come in. There's some transformative forces that are urging to happen alongside this new moon solar eclipse energy. But that moon in Taurus says, wait a minute, let me, as it squares Pluto, let me question the value. Let me be a little bit stubborn about that. Let me be a martyr and hold on to the old things that I need to complete in order for the new things to come in. Now, if you want to hold on to the old thing, taking that latter point, hold on to it and complete it for sure. Please don't hold on to it with the idea of, oh my goodness, let's sit in here and recollect what happened, to hold on to the past, to be a little nostalgia about it. Because remember, this newness and these new places and where we're going, they don't want that nostalgia. You've lived that out already. So make sure on Tuesday that there's no power trips around you holding on to your memories. There's no power trips in regards to how you should move, how you should change, how you should express yourself. Just sit back and detached a little bit for a little while and watch everything come into place as it should, as God made it. On Wednesday, it happens to be the best day of the week. Let me share with you how and why. That moon will stay in Taurus on Wednesday, and it's always a good deal when the moon is in Taurus. For one, we get to eat a lot because that Taurus energy loves food. We need to feel the loyalty and devotion within our souls for other people and absolutely for ourselves. The moon in Taurus is dope. However, it will sextile Mars on that day because Mars is in Pisces. Be easy on yourself. We're all doing this faith walk. No punishment is allowed. I have to put that out there for show, for show. Why? Because Mars is moving in Pisces, nice and slow and divine-like. It'll get there when it needs to get there. You will move when you need to move. And that moon in Taurus is kind of stubborn and a little pragmatic about its expressions and how Mars should do its moving. And if it doesn't move as quickly or precisely as the moon wants it to move, it could possibly be a little punishing. Don't do that to yourself. Even though a sextile is a harmonious type of aspect between the moon and Mars, it's saying don't be too hurried. Accept the slow walk. Accept the understanding that devotion and loyalty and solidifying feelings and events and situations happen when we take our time. When our movements are just like that Pisces, purposeful and absolutely divine. On Wednesday, that moon sextiles Saturn too. This is when it starts to heat up. Your patient faith walk, right, provides you with a reward. At least you realizing that your boundaries are gold. You realizing that your boundaries that you put up have been assisting you. And you feel proud about it. So that moon sextile in Saturn says, yo, you are solidly laying down your foundation in ways in which you are putting up your boundaries. So be glad about that. You are solidly laying down your foundation in ways in which you are becoming more compassionate, in ways in which you are becoming more devoted to yourself, in ways in which you are looking your fears and your lessons right in the eye, making sure that you are accountable for all your fears and the hiccups that you might have had along the way. Wednesday is a good day to pat yourself on the back and say, yo, I did this thing. I put up my boundaries. I'm absolutely looking at my fear, and I'm going to walk through it knowing that God is going to bring me on the other side of it. Absolutely sure. Also on Wednesday, that same moon in Taurus will be in conjunction with Jupiter in Taurus. Expansion in any education or traveling opportunities or personal explorations are promoted that day for sure. They can bring you some opportunities if you allow it, especially overseas. Like for instance, if you have an opportunity to do some work overseas, to gain some more clients overseas, to express yourself and or promote your talents and gifts overseas, do that. Yo, the moon in conjunction with Jupiter will allow these awards and opportunities and at least an optimistic feel to find you. You have to spread yourself. Spread yourself for all to feel your rays, y'all. Remember, new moon solar eclipse. Also on Wednesday, this is such a good day, Mars is in conjunction with Saturn. Love that. Mars being in conjunction with Saturn says not only do we recognize our boundaries, our lessons, have walked through our fears, Mars says, I'm grabbing you by the hand. I'm pulling you by the hand. I'm giving you the motivation, the execution, the aggression, the assertiveness to walk through your fears. Wednesday is a day in which nobody can hold you back, especially because it's in Pisces. It's not so forceful. It's a water sign, so it's not so aggressive and it doesn't want to blow down doors, but it has a power in which you can't see. It has a power, that Piscean energy has a power that is like water that goes through the cracks and the crevices of any situation and ends up being exactly where it needs to be. You don't have to shout on Wednesday. Your power and your forcefulness and who you are will bring you there, as that Mars conjuncting Saturn will show. It's time to plow through these fears and let them know who's really, really boss. And then lastly on Wednesday, that moon will be in conjunction with Uranus. Say what? The moon in conjunction with Uranus is only saying switch ups are approved. Innovations are approved. The weirdos are approved. So on that day, when all the changes are coming at you and Mars is plowing through your fears and your lessons, Uranus is saying, yup, let's do it. Let's switch. Let's be weird about it. Let's show ourselves out on the stage and let them all know this is who we are, regardless if you have something to say about it or not. I am being unique and innovative because it's time. I say yes and very yes, y'all. Be proud to be the black sheep. Be proud to be the weirdo. Be proud to do something new because nobody else has that idea but you. So on Thursday, it gets a little heady because the moon goes into Gemini. With the moon being in Gemini, it's going to sextile Venus in Aries. So love and expression can be fun and spontaneous on Thursday. Value the sense of adventure in a passionate kind of way. Please and very please. Ooh, when Gemini energy, the moon, gets together with Venus energy, Aries, that's a good time. That's a really, really, really good time. Fun-loving time that's a lot of switches in our expressions, a lot of changeable understandings in our love. Meaning, oh, I know how you love. I'm going to adapt in that way. Oh, I know how you express. I'm going to accept your self-expression. It's okay. I give you room to be yourself on that day and celebrate in it from a superficial, very fun-like kind of energy. I like Thursday for that. So keep it light. Keep it somewhat heady, meaning stay in conversations, stay in, again, superficial, maybe subject matters. Don't go too deep, and do your best not to get distracted on that day. Also on Thursday, the moon in Aries will conjunct Mercury in retrograde in Aries. So that can be a really, really weird Mercury retrograde kind of day. I don't know about y'all, squirrel, but this Mercury in retrograde has your girl very, very indecisive. I'm going to tell you real quick. I think the other day I went out and said, I'm going to get something to eat. I went to the first store and said, I'm going to get a sandwich. Went to the next store and was like, I don't want a sandwich. I want some sushi. I went to the third store. I don't want no sushi. I want some soup. Literally 3 different stores and came out with nothing. Came home and made a salad. That's what Mercury retrograde has been doing to your girl. So be really, really careful on Thursday when that sun is in conjunction with Mercury retrograde, because that's exactly how it can throw you. The sun itself is ego, right? The sun is the core you. And when it's in alignment with Mercury going retrograde, it can kind of throw your core, you, who you are, vulnerably, kind of throw it off a little bit and out of sync. So walk slow on that day. Because it's in Aries, it can ignite some kind of fire, some kind of confrontation, an argument, at the very least, leave you very alone. And then you go, what happened? Everybody left me. Maybe because you cursed everybody out. I'm just saying. That's Thursday. Watch yourself and celebrate being who you are. Just don't necessarily be alone on that day because of your mouth. I'm just saying. On Friday, the moon stays in Gemini. Yep. So that moon in Gemini, again, it promotes a very duplicit type of existence, especially with our emotions, right? The moon in Gemini says you can do 1 thing, 2 things, 5 things, 7 things at a time. Next thing you know, you're juggling all this information, all your thoughts. The to-do list is crazy, and you really think you can pull it off. We probably can, normally. However, on Friday, with the moon being in Gemini, it will square Saturn being in Pisces. An overexcited mind and or you talking too much can get you lost in your thoughts and in your disciplines and your lessons and in your fears and in your boundaries. Possibly, maybe. Here's a very, very light example. You're thinking so much on Friday. You got so much to do on your to-do list where you absolutely abandon your spiritual disciplines, or you absolutely abandon your boundaries and say, okay, Sonja, I could do that for you. I'll put the 10th thing on my to-do list that day and make it happen. Will you really? Be careful, because it's going against your discipline to have everything in alignment with who you are, and that's Saturn. You dig? So be really, really careful of over planning on Friday, of overthinking, of over committing on that day, okay? It'll throw you way off. We don't want none of that. Take your time. Also on Friday, that moon in Gemini will square Mars. Now, this is why we have to be very, very particular. Because it's squaring Saturn, it can get you doubly afraid and absolutely disregard your boundaries. However, when that moon in Gemini squares Mars, here comes the anger. Here comes the upsets. Here comes the, did you hear what I said kind of thing? This is what I want to do. And you want to do it in another different way. So you get upset. Sorry, that was a little scenario in my mind, but you get it, right? That moon in Gemini, again, is compartmentalizing. It wants to do a lot of different things, has a lot of information, a lot of talking, okay, on Friday. And it could absolutely go against, that's the square of Mars, and its excitement, its movement, its aggression, its need to execute in a particular type of way, which is very Piscean, very slow, very purposeful, very shape-shifting, very emotional. So the things that you need to do could go up against the emotional ways in which you're moving. Take your time and let the emotions play out a little bit differently and as it needs to against the information that's coming in. The bottom line is that you have to do one or the other, not at the same time. On Saturday, the moon stays in Gemini, and yep, it will square Neptune. That's the only aspect for Saturday. The moon squaring Neptune. This is interesting because we could all awake feeling really, really confused. That moon in Gemini, again, wants us to do a bunch of different things, thinking very, very quickly, harried, and more importantly, trying to obtain all the information to make things go well. Now, remember, we're Mercury retrograde. Mercury is Gemini's planet, so we can feel a little too harried to get things done because we already feel that we're slow because Mercury is slow. That may have went over a few of y'all's heads, but don't worry about it. The bottom line is don't get too much in your head, especially on Saturday as it squares Neptune. Neptune is in Pisces, and Neptune is all about the cloudy. It's all about the delusions and the illusions and music and art and escapisms and distractions. Neptune is all about the things that we can feel but we can't touch, as I say oftentimes. So when information and heady cerebral stuff is getting in the way of the dreamy time, the imagination, the idealistic, there's some type of confusion and it could be a traffic jam within us. Don't allow it. Meaning time in which you dream and kind of float away into dreamland, and then also have those times in which you can sit back and get some things done. Don't have them sitting in one area because then that's frustrating. All right? Okay. And on Sunday, that moon goes into Cancer. The moon being in Cancer wants us to eat again too, so be really careful. Anytime the moon is in Taurus or Cancer, we just get an appetite. So I'm just giving you a little heads up. It also promotes a lot of emotions. Specifically, the moon in Cancer wants us to hold on to the past. So Sunday may be a good day to kind of sit back and recall the decisions and or the emotional things that you went through the last week, and being that it's a new moon solar eclipse, and kind of go through it in a way in which we are accountable for our emotional reactions or our expressions, and we don't hold on to anything. We do not want to hold on to anything in the past because we are blasting forward. You get that? Also, be careful when the moon is in Cancer not to complain, not to be a little brattish in a way in which you want what you want because emotionally you feel it. Everybody is feeling something. So it's a great day to learn to understand and stay in the very, very passionate way in which we love one another, especially because the only aspect on Sunday is that moon in Cancer squaring Venus in Aries. We need and we want to express with care on that day, that moon being in Cancer. However, Venus in Aries is like, we got to get it hot. I don't have time to give you all this affection and hug you and kiss you. We got to come in hot. I got to love you real quick and then I got to go. I got to be independent. I got a meeting to go to. I got church to go to Sunday. I got all these other kind of things. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. The bottom line is on Sunday, please do your best not to take too many things personally. People are feeling passionate in an Aries kind of way, which is very self-centered and oftentimes, again, really, really quick. And it may look like that people are not considering you. Not the truth. People are considering themselves more than anything that day. And the moon is saying, express it in a way in which you can include everybody. Not everyone will get that latter message. So the bottom line is, if you don't feel the love coming at you, put the love on somebody else to remind them, this is what I'd like. If you want a hug, give a hug. If you want somebody to say, I love you, stop them in the middle of the room and say, you know what, honey, I love you. That's how love begets love. Show it. Don't fight in order to get it. That's all I'm saying. Okay, everybody, let's see what our card of the week is from our Osho Zen Tarot deck. All right, we got a very interesting card this week. So, like I do in my readings, which I do conduct one-on-one readings, couples readings, as well as group readings, you can go on over to my website and check it out at wordlifeastrology.com/the readings page, okay? And inquire about my readings. I oftentimes ask what the card means in my head before I actually share with the person or with the group. Today I asked that, and I normally don't, but today I asked, and I was wondering, why politics? What I just heard was, please don't play both sides of the coin when this new moon energy is coming in. There's a part of us all that wants to be political about what this newness is about. Like, I'll take it, but let me see if there's something else. No. What they're suggesting this week is that if you're all into the newness, you got to be all in. You can't be political about it and have two faces and act like an imposter, okay? All right. Do you recognize this man? All but the most innocent and sincere of us have a politician lurking somewhere in our minds. In fact, the mind is political. Its very nature is to plan and scheme and try to manipulate situations and people so that it can get what it wants. Here, the mind is being represented by the snake, covered with clouds and speaking with a forked tongue. But the important thing to remember about this card is that both faces are false. The sweet, innocent, trust me face is a mask, and the evil, toxic, I'll have my way with you face is a mask too. Politicians don't have real faces. The whole game is a lie. Take a good look at yourself to see if you've been playing this game. What you might see may be painful, but not as painful as continuing to play. It doesn't serve anybody's interest in the end, and least of all, yours. Whatever you might achieve in this way will just turn to dust in your hands. Ashe. Take that with you, y'all. And remember to be your total, complete, authentic selves from the inside out, okay? No politicians here. We live in the truth. You dig that? I appreciate you checking out this week's video. Please, again, like and subscribe and share if you feel the need. And I'll see you next week. All right? Thank you for tuning in once again.